Frak, this podcast, come and listen to us talk about Battlestar Galactica. It's a show that we're talking about. Hello, interwebs, and welcome to the Frak, this podcast. I am your clowned host, Jesse Gender, and I'm joined as always by...
It's Vera Clowned.
Because right before you hopped on this recording session, before we started chatting before our normal record, I saw your comment on my Blue Sky post about It Chapter 1.
Yeah. For context for folks, Jesse had done a post on Blue Sky talking about It Welcome to Derry and like offhandedly mentioning that It Chapter 2 was mid, and my reply was, well, It Chapter 1 was mid too, but y'all ain't ready to have that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even necessarily disagree with you, but It Chapter 1 at least had like, and not that It Chapter 2 doesn't, but it was more novel at the time. Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise performance is fantastic, I think.
My ability to take that performance seriously was ruined all of 4 minutes into the movie when the person I went to see it with leaned over to me and said, "He sounds exactly like Scooby-Doo without the speech impediment." And he does.
He really does. Now that you say that, he really does. I don't think that it works for me though. I don't know. But yeah, now that you say that, but that's not his fault, I feel like.
It's his voice.
I mean, it is his voice, and yes, you are correct, but like that connection wouldn't, if your partner or whoever you saw it with, I don't know who you saw it with, but whoever said that to you, had not said that, I feel like it would have been probably working better for you, at least for a time.
Probably, or at least for further into the movie, but that was 5 minutes into the movie. She just leans over like, it's Scooby-Doo, and I'm listening to him go, "Come on, Georgie, we all float down here," and it's
Hey there, Georgie.
Yeah. Without the rut-row aspect of it, it's
Rut-row,
just a Scooby-Doo voice.
We all roo. Oh yeah, now you say that. I will say again, it's not phenomenal, but It Welcome to Derry is actually better than both of the movies. Mostly because they make this is about racism much more explicit, and actually do a decent job talking about it in kind of interesting ways. So
that's good. Yeah, the movies kind of dropped the ball on that.
Yeah. The show is much more textually about that, and in much more complicated ways. It's not like as like Stephen King is even sometimes known to do, is just people going around saying the N-word a lot, and very like, again, not that it's unrealistic. Those types of people exist, but very like over the top style of racism. Whereas the show is actually kind of dealing with like a lot more interesting stuff about like there's a major who's in the military, a black guy, and he kind of does the whole black exceptionalism thing of like, if I'm the best one here, it'll be great. Well, his wife is a bit more like, hey, I want to fight against the system. And so they have friction within their marriage about that. I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting and kind of more nuanced than like, we're just dealing with overt racist bigotry. It's like, oh, there's different conversations within that. So it's actually doing a pretty decent job. So
well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, with race relays, I had the awkward experience of, because I got commissioned of watching Do the Right Thing for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, it sure is weird watching that and going, if not for the absence of cell phones, this could have been set last year.
Yep. Oh, very much so. No, that's a really, really solid movie. I will say I did just watch Spike Lee's most recent film. What was it called off the top of my head? It's a remake of another film that wasn't about like America. I think it was like a Japanese film. What was the movie? Highest to Lowest, which is a remake of High and Low, which is a Akira Kurosawa film, but he set it in like America today. Which is like interesting as a pitch, but like the movie is so bad. Legitimately, I'm like, it has the most saccharine soundtrack you've ever heard in your life, like very orchestral, like, dude, like every section. I'm like, this has to be like a bit, right? Like the movie's gonna have a turn. It's because like I'm watching this and it's so saccharine and so over the top, like earnest in a weird way. that I'm like, there has to be like a swerve here where it's going to like suddenly be like, all right, and all of that was like we were fucking with you, and now like some real stuff's gonna happen here, and it doesn't, and it's just so over the top saccharine, and I wanted to like, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And I,
Spike Lee is an odd filmmaker.
yeah, he is, but I usually like he is odd, but even his odd stuff I generally like. Like Defy Bloods was like an odd movie, but really
Oh, Defy
good.
Bloods was fantastic.
Yeah, and like other stuff that he's done, Bamboozled is an interesting one. Like Inside Man, obviously, is his most like mainstream one, but it's like that's also really solid. But yeah, Highest to Lowest, one of the worst movies I have seen, and that is, and I mean that not like it is legitimately terrible. Like if it was like a Hallmark movie, I would say this is bad for a Hallmark film. And I'm shocked to say that, but it is bad. Like it has some interesting ideas, like more so than a Hallmark movie would have, but it's played like a Hallmark movie, and it is ridiculously awful. uh, yeah, I know. And I'm like, am I racist now for saying that? Like, I don't know. So I don't know, but yeah, it's a bad movie. It's very
We're
bad.
gonna have to cancel you now.
Yeah. No, I will stick by my opinion. It's a bad movie. But yeah, it's just a fascinating thing. But yeah, I genuinely like Spike Lee, but that was just a weird ass film. So, anyways, I kind of when I was watching it wanted to do a little exit from that highest to lowest. And speaking of exit from things with two in them, we have comments from the episode Exodus Part 2.
Sure, why not?
Might have been the roughest transition I've ever fucking done in my life. I am sorry. All right, we're gonna do comments from Exodus Part 2. We have a first one is from 255 AD, who said, what Jesse said when Jesse said she wanted out of the scene with Baltar and Gata. Oh, excuse me. What Jesse said she wanted out of the scene with Baltar and Gata made me think of Alan the Alien and Omni-Man. You know, when Nolan is just waxing on about how he deserves to die for the things he's done, and Alan just has no patience with it. And he's like, can you stop going on about that and actually do something helpful? And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly kind of what I wanted out of that scene to a degree.
I'm gonna have to take your word on that. I've
Oh, you
never
haven't seen Invincible?
Invincible.
What?
Nope.
Oh, Invincible's great. I really like Invincible quite a lot. Like I've read the whole comics. The show is really good. My like I have criticisms here and there. My only real criticism with the comic, like again, small things here and there all over the place. But like the only major one I have is the ending. Kind of does the we'll replace one bad monarch with a good monarch, and it's very like 90s, early 2000s like progressiveness. So, but other than that, it's really solid. So, yeah. Let's see. We also have Paul Hammond. I did want to at least say I've read your comment. I can't say it, but I have read your comment. But I agree with you on the Leoben stuff there. It is spoilery.
Okay.
Style for Ali says the only other example of warp tactics I recall is from the episode Peak Performance, where Picard and Riker are playing a war game and get ambushed by the Ferengi. Riker warps away at the instant Picard fires photon torpedoes to make it appear that he had destroyed the ship. Yeah, that's also a great episode. That one has the melty face man who is just over the top gay, like gay queen, who's on there judging Picard. It was it's a fantastic episode. So where like they do the clickety clack game with like there's the thing on their fingers and they're playing the game with Data.
It sounds vaguely familiar. I might have seen this one. I do not have a strong memory of it.
Oh, it is. I mean, like plot wise, it's very forgettable, but like the performances are, and just some of the like ridiculous like imagery that like is just very strange. It is a very enjoyable episode. So, let's see, and then we also have another one that says from Romler says Stargate used their hyperdrive technology in some interesting ways a few times. Like one time they used it to jump an asteroid through a planet. It's about to hit. Which, yeah, no, Stargate actually does some cool hyperdrive stuff, which I'm excited about. They just announced a new Stargate show that is not a reboot, but a continuation from the old stuff, which I'm kind of excited about. So, because they were talking about, well, because I was worried I love the Stargate franchise. Stargate Atlantis, I adore. All of them are really fun. I'm even will stand up for Stargate Universe, which everyone hates on. But But yeah, it's a fantastic series. But my big thing is like they kept talking about, are we going to bring it back? Are we going to reboot it? And my concern with a reboot, like I'm not necessarily one like, oh, you need to uphold the canon. The reboot, if it's a reboot, I just worried that they would adhere more to the movie, which the movie is not great. The movie's blah. Um, and so I was like, oh, if you're gonna reboot it and like we're gonna align more with the movie version than what the shows ultimately became, which is more like camp fun Indiana Jones and space style stuff, then I would be kind of less interested. But they're rebooting it, they're continuing it on with the same canon. So I'm hopefully that'll be, tone wise, it'll kind of stay similar in tone. So
hope you like it. It'll get 2 seasons tops.
we'll see. I don't know. The franchise went on for, it had 17 seasons.
I understand that, but I'm thinking in terms of revivals of long dormant franchises.
I guess.
That's about the standard. I think the only one that is an exception to that, and it's in its own weird category, is the Connors.
I guess. I'm trying to think of like other reboots. Like there's been other sci-fi reboots that have did decently well. Like Star Trek did decently well.
Okay, that's not in the current landscape though. Bring it up to date. Bring it up to date.
I guess. I'm trying to think of like up to date. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it could do solidly. It kind of depends on what the model of it's going to be. If it's going to be like we'll do 6 episodes a season, like Strange New Worlds or whatever, then I don't think it'll do well. It's a show that kind of needs to be like pulpy fun that we get a chunk of episodes from. So, but we'll see. We shall see.
2 seasons. Enjoy them.
Someone's really Vera, you're very pessimistic today. Dude,
I don't know. Look, I understand Stargate has its fans. That fandom has not grown since Stargate has gone off the air.
Sure.
If you're going to be continuing continuity of something that collectively has like 17 seasons worth of stuff, you're not picking up anybody new.
No, I mean, I feel like they could. So here's the thing with that show, like 17 years of continuity. Yeah. But like, it was not so, it's like very next generation-y. Like I could easily see that whatever show they do being like we're not continuing on with the same cast of characters. Maybe we'll do a cameo they'll be in an episode or whatever. But if they do it where it's just like whole new thing, same similar tone, same similar vibe, but whole new crew, we're just going on adventures through the wormhole week to week, I think that'll be fine. I think that'll work out well. And hey, look, Richard Dean Anderson pops up for an episode here or there. But like that's about like what I would hope they do. If they do bring it back, it's like we're rebooting it with all the same cast of characters and such. Oh boy, that would be very bad. Though might be interesting because the final 2 seasons of SG1, which I think are my favorites of that show, by the way, starred Ben Broder and Claudia Black from Farscape.
I am aware of that. I'm aware of that.
So there might be some fun Farscape vibes for you. So, well, I think you're wrong. Go fuck yourself. I hate you, Vera.
See, I don't even think I'm as pessimistic as like my form of pessimism is telling you to enjoy it while you have it.
Well, we'll see how
because it's fleeting and we all die.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking pessimist.
I was just saying.
Go to hell.
Yeah. Well, we're a little bit torn on our opinions on this topic, but surprisingly enough, we're going to talk about an episode today called Torn.
That was much better.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. I was pleased with myself. It helps when the title of the episode is like a kind of easy word to insert into things, as opposed to Exodus Part 2. It's a hard word to like slip into casual conversation.
It's a little tricky.
Yeah. If we ever do a recap of Star Trek Discovery, we'll have to like work in like episode titles like "The Butcher's Knife Cares Not for the Lamb's Cry," which is a legitimate title of an episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Season one, I like Star Trek Discovery, but its first season, they had pretentious ass titles. So
like, yeah, that's some Babylon's 5 titling up there.
Yeah.
Which you weren't really doing the transition-y thing when we had that.
I would do it here and there, but I didn't make a thing of it.
No, you dodged a bullet.
Well, anyways, now that we've torn ourselves away from the episode, let's get back to it. Get it? See, I did it again. Pow. Anyways, let us get into our recap of the episode. We start off with inside Baltar's mind palace, where Head Six is in a bathing suit and Baltar's there, and they're on a beach. And I'm
Well,
just gonna
I
say
was gonna say it's worth clarifying at this point that when we say Mind Palace, we no longer mean
his
like the
apartment,
recreation of his place on Caprica
Caprica.
Classic.
Yes.
Because at this point, when he retreats to his Mind Palace, it is completely new settings. That seems to have been an abandoned location.
Yeah.
His Mind Palace had their budget cut, and they weren't willing to pay for that location anymore. So now they're just on a beach.
Yes. I will say I did actually liked how this was filmed, because the way this scene is filmed, and not really the rest of them, but their mouths are blown out, so you can't actually see their mouths, and they're speaking very clearly, so it almost feels like they're dubbed, and there's a very kind of surreal quality to it that I really kind of liked in this sequence. There's just a weird surreality to it in a way that, like, other times we've been inside Baltar's mind palace, we have not seen. So I kind of enjoyed the way this was filmed, to be frank.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that, like, as a technique, ADR or dubbing over the lines, like it is always a tricky thing because it does tend to lend to a kind of uncanniness, but like it is something that you can lean into on purpose.
There was a movie I've been watching some of David Cronenberg's films, who I really adore, and he did that with Scanners, right? Scanners, that's him, right?
That's him.
Yeah, Scanners. I want to make sure I got the title right, but Scanners, the one where like people are reading their own like minds and stuff and things like that. That entire movie also stars Patrick McGowan, which I didn't realize until I watched it, which is fun. But every line in that movie is dubbed over to give it an Unreal kind of quality to it. So like the whole movie is, and it was an intentional choice to like have it all be dubbed. So yeah,
that's very cool. It's fun. It's funny you mentioned Cronenberg. I watched a clip recently of oh crap, why can't I think of his name? John Carpenter. Who like has just turned into just like the chillest dude. Who just like at this he smokes weed and he plays video games. That's his day most of the time.
I mean, good for him, man.
Yeah, but he was like on a podcast talking about like he stopped going to like these Masters of Horror like dinners and whatnot. It's like I remember when we first like started doing that, we were all just talking about like ideas we had or stuff we liked, but like last time I went there, everyone's got their head stuck so far up their own ass, and they all think they're geniuses. Cronenberg used to be such a chill guy.
Aw, that makes you sad.
He didn't call him an asshole. He did say he had his head up his ass.
I mean, I can... Yeah. I mean,
given the man's output, I could buy, and I don't even think is necessarily a slight.
Yes, I mean, I love Cronenberg. He's one of my favorite filmmakers, but looking at Crimes of the Future and The Shrouds, his two most recent films, I can get that like head up his own ass a little bit vibe from those movies. Again, as someone who likes them, they are a bit more pretentious in a way that like Scanners or like The Fly are not.
Yeah. It was just funny watching John Carpenter be like, yeah, I don't really do the industry stuff anymore because I just want to hang and I don't relate to these people anymore.
Yeah. Well, I will give David Cronenberg, my favorite tidbit about Cronenberg is that he plays a character in Star Trek Discovery. Who turns out they have a big reveal in the series finale of Discovery. He's revealed to be a side character from Star Trek Enterprise, the prequel Star Trek show. So I'm like, yeah, they have him playing the same characters revealed. He's the same character because there's like time travel shit involved. And so I'm just like, wow. So horror director David Cronenberg plays a recurring character from Star Trek Enterprise in a different show. What a wild world we live in.
See, I just love the fact that he let Jason Voorhees kill him.
Yeah.
In Jason X.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he can't be that pretentious if he lets himself get murdered like that. So
I mean, I believe the director of that one was like I don't know if protege is the right word, but like somebody he'd worked with before, so it was basically a favor.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, now that we've tangented hard, literally a second into this episode, haven't even started to show plot. So we're in Baltar's Mind Palace, shot very surreally. And he's talking to Head Six, and he basically says, "Oh, I thought you would abandon me to your Cylon comrades because we hadn't really seen much of her since they were on New Caprica. He'd seen her from time to time, but not really regularly." And he basically says, you've always been more unpredictable than your flesh and blood counterparts. Um, and she basically says, well, you should learn all about the Cylons as much as you can. You'll need it in the days ahead. And she talks about Cylon psychology is based on projection, how they choose to see the world around them. And Baltar's like, yes, you seem like you want
Which, like, I singled out at the time, and I just wrote down the word projection, ... big question mark. Like, what the fuck is this? Because it felt very out of, like, there was no segue into this thing that she starts talking about and the way the Cylons see the world. She just kind of says it out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck is it? And then we get later in the episode, I'm like, oh, it was a real blatant setup for you to be able to do a thing later. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I kind of felt foolish for not spotting it for the hand of the author moment that it was.
Yes, it very much was. But Baltar then asks her again, what are you really? Are you connected to the woman I knew on New Caprica? So talking about Caprica 6, or part of my subconscious. Those are the two choices. Then she reiterates, I'm an angel of God sent here to help you just as I always have been. So,
which I'm sure will continue to be her position. I don't buy it, but yeah, sure, you do you, babe.
All right, we'll see. There will be an answer to that question at some point, I will say. So, we then cut to Baltar in reality on the Cylon base star, and here's again something to note: the way that Baltar is shot, like all the stuff with on the base star that we'll be talking about here, is shot also very differently. So the music is classical piano music. There's a lot of crossfades and like shots over top, like on top of other shots, like double exposure sort of shots. That again gives a surreal tone in a different way than Baltar's Mind Palace, but a surreal tone as well to all the stuff on the base star, as opposed to the more grounded kind of style of filmmaking that we get with on the Galactica, which again I really like. I think it's very cool.
Like I will know that it feels more pointed in this segment than in some of the later scenes on the base star, and which I kind of took as its sort of way of giving an impression of what Baltar's time here is like, with this sort of fade in, fade up. Things change, but they don't. You lose track of time.
Yes, very much so. But yeah, I think it is sort of like to kind of point out like Baltar's weird mind state at the moment. But again, I really like it. It's a cool vibe. I think it's a very cool vibe for the Cylons, and I'll just say we'll talk more about it as we go. Well, I'll save this to the end. I'll save that point for the end. We then cut to Deanna talking to Baltar. And she's talking about the ship. She's saying, we're part of one big ecosystem, and the ship is breathing, is how she kind of describes it. And Baltar sort of like feels like, yeah, I can kind of sense that. But then Caprica 6 comes in and says, have you asked him? And she's like, no, not yet. And they basically kind of bring up Earth. Do you know how to find it? And Baltar's like, originally like, well, no, not really. And Deanna's like, well, that's unfortunate. It would have helped justify keeping you alive a little bit longer. He's like, well, I actually totally have a lot. Like when I say that I don't know where Earth is, I did help a lot trying to find it out, and basically just like struggling to like justify. Well, actually, I know a lot more. I could totally be useful.
Immediately having to back, okay, look, I don't know exactly where it is, but like I already know a lot about the stuff that they also know. So if they're
I was integral to the researk, so I know all the information that you can.
I know as much as they do.
Yeah. Trying to like be like, please don't kill me. I can be helpful. Is very much the vibe. And they also say we've decided. He's like asks, why do you want to know where Earth is? And they say we've decided Earth is going to be our new home. So,
which I don't get them again. Which would be intriguing, was it if the show was not leaning into them on an individual basis, behaving as human as they have been of late. It's like, it's one of those things where if collectively as a species, when they aren't interacting with humans, if they just behaved unlike people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the eyes of humans are off them, if they just come across as different, then it'd be so much easier for me to roll with the fact that I still don't get what their fucking deal is.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, with how much time has been spent with making them as close to human as they've been made,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that I still don't get them is starting to annoy me. And I am going to pin it on that because, like, I like unknowable shit. I
Yeah.
like not knowing stuff, but, like, something about, again, the more human their behavior becomes, the more it irritates me that I don't know what's going on. Whereas if I didn't feel like they were being that way, I don't think it would bug me so much.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I have nothing more to say because I know more answers, so it's hard for me to
Yeah.
argue.
And this is a me problem. I know this is
No,
a
no,
very specific.
it's a
Like legit though. This is a very specific balance issue of like what I will accept when dealing with something that is inscrutable and how to walk that line. And I'm sure my metric is different from anybody else's.
yeah, but I mean the comparison I can make. I mean, I don't even disagree with you really rewatching the show. Like again, I know more answers, so it's a little harder for me in the sense of like, okay, I know where some of this is going and some of the answers that might help you, but you don't know it. And I agree from this point in the series, like I get like the general frustration of that like weird middle ground. The comparison I make is to like Babylon 5, where something like the Shadows or the Vorlons were inscrutable, but like they also acted weird. Like they
Yeah.
acted weird. So like us not knowing their motivations or why they did something, like we could just chalk it up to like, well, I don't get them and how they think yet. So that could like that probably makes some logical sense. Whereas here it's like hard to track with like they act this way, but then this is their goal that doesn't track with that. So that's weird.
Yeah. If this is their goal, then that doesn't track, but also their goal seems to have changed, yet also somehow they're still obsessed with humanity for some reason. And I don't know why. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. We then cut to the Galactica where we're seeing there's a ship-to-ship Viper training exercise. So there's a red team and a blue team. Apollo is leading the red team, and hey, he's skinny again randomly. We'll talk about that more in a later scene.
Oh yeah, that'll get focused on later. Of course, we couldn't just have him get fed again. We have to make a fucking bit out of it.
Yeah. I for some reason there isn't a montage as I thought there was, but there is a wait. There's like a point of like training and like lifting and like working out sort of shit. So
it gets referenced because like it was talked about like an episode or two ago, and now we're just getting the payoff. Like it'll be addressed in dialogue. I don't know. I can't decide if that's worse than the montage or not.
Yeah,
it's not better.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, it'll never get brought back up after this episode. Thank fucking Jesus. But anyways, Apollo and Starbuck are on the red team. And Apollo goes after Kat on the blue team. And Apollo can't get her, and Starbuck breaks formation against Apollo's orders and tries to shoot Kat. But because of this, I think she crashes into Kat's Viper, and it causes an accident on her Viper.
Yeah.
So they are back on the flight deck, and sort of people are pointing out like, yeah, Starbuck managed to land the bird without any fuel because the accident like caused her fuel line to go out. So it's kind of an impressive thing that she did there. But Apollo comes up and yells at her, is like, hey, if you have a death wish, don't take my Viper with you, essentially. And it's like, I don't give a frack what you do. You're done flying. So,
and I'll say now before I say what I'm about to say, where they ultimately end up going with her by the end, like this does work. But I did kind of roll my eyes a bit at this point because I'm like, are we really doing the damn it Top Gun, you're grounded thing with her again? Because this was like day one what her fucking deal was, and we're doing this again? Was kind of my initial reaction.
Yes, I feel like it goes into a different place, but like the setup for this is very similar. So
yeah.
We then cut to Ty is drinking alone in his room, and he thinks he hears Ellen's voice. And then he thinks he sees her, and he sort of chases this woman out into the hall, but then catches up to her, and it turns out it's not actually Ellen. It's just a random civilian who was on the ship. So
yep,
he's having trauma dreams of Ellen. We then cut to Starbuck. who is in her bunk area, and she runs into the mom of Casey, the kid that Leoben sort of tossed her in with earlier on
Well, she
Caprica.
sees Casey first because Casey runs up to her and is like, Cara, 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 which is
Mhm.
weird because that kid did not say a single word.
The entire time, yeah.
No.
Yep.
Whatever.
But yeah, the mom basically says like, "Hey, we're part of the refugee camp here on the Galactica, and Casey's been asking to see you, so I thought we'd come visit." And Starbucks like, "Hey, the last thing I need is a 2-year-old friends. Don't bring her around here anymore." Um, and the mom gets pissy about it. It's like, don't let us keep you. Sorry, honey, we've got to go. And I'm like, it's weirdly fucking resentful from the mom. Like I get Starbucks being kind of an ass here, but it's also sort of like, you just showed up unannounced. You have no idea what the fuck is going on with you. I don't know if you have a right to get all pissy about it. You know what I mean? Like,
I
well,
don't know, dude.
don't let us keep you, she says while standing in her bunk area. Like, I don't know. It'd be like me coming over to your house and then being like, hey, let's hang out, Vera. And then you're like, I can't fucking deal with you right now. And then me going like, well, fuck you too then. I'm like, I'm in your house. I don't know.
Yeah, when are you going to leave my house, by
Yeah.
the way? Because, like...
Shh, don't tell them.
Like it's a contrivedly heightened moment.
Yes, yes. It's like the scene. I get what they're going for, but it like the I think the ultimate point is to kind of show Starbucks being a dick, and this I think went a little bit too high, like too heightened from the mom, for it to like not land a little weird for me at the end there. Like if the mom had just been a little sad, I think it would have landed much better. So instead of being like weirdly resentful. So
yeah.
Or like hell, just focus on the kid, like the kid being sad. I think that might have even been better.
Well, you'd need a better child actor for that.
Yeah,
or actually, more realistically, you'd have to actually make the child sad, which
yeah.
I'd rather they didn't do. Actually,
yes. To be fair,
because that is I hate to ruin movies and TV for people, but when you are dealing with a child crying in a movie or TV show, that child is actually crying. Now, if it's a baby, just wait. They'll find a reason to cry. But if it's not, they did something to make that kid cry. I'm not necessarily saying something dramatic or abusive, but I'm telling you, they did something to make that kid cry. This is part of why I do not enjoy children in distress in movies, because I know it's real.
I will mention, I did look up some of the stuff about this episode. And one of the notes was Ronald D. Moore said that like the kid actor was actually one of the best kid actors that they worked with, who played Casey. So
that's cool.
Yeah, weirdly enough. And we'll never see her again after this episode. She'll never come back. Anyways,
I cannot tell if you're being sarcastic.
No, I am being sarcastic. We will never. This is the last time we will see Casey. So yeah. But we then cut to the scene that I mentioned before, where Apollo and Hilo are working out, and Apollo's lost weight. He's back in fit condition again.
We have to draw on lots of emphasis to it because he has his shirt off, so we get his chiseled bod, and he has to like look in the mirror and take special note of it. And Hilo is like, "Hey, good job, Slim."
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck off, man.
Yeah, a little more fat. There's one last little fat shaming cherry on top of that.
Yeah,
Sunday.
Like, look, it was bad enough you did it, and now you're gonna pat yourself on the back for stopping doing it. Go to hell.
Yeah. It's bad, and again, like Casey, will thankfully never be a problem again.
Good.
Yeah, we're done with that fucking bullshit. We then cut to Gaeta, Adama, and Roslin, and Gaeta is sort of giving a presentation on him looking into Baltar's research to Earth, because now Gaeta's kind of taken over Baltar's research on how to find where Earth is. And Roslin sort of points out where Gaeta's trying to talk through the research, like, why do you trust, what do you trust about Baltar's research? Why would you trust this man? And Gaeta makes a good point. It's like, the one thing I believe about Baltar is extraordinary capacity for self-preservation. He wanted to get to Earth, so I trust the work. So I'm like, fair.
He thought he'd be safe there, so he actually wanted to find it.
Yes, exactly. But basically, he was looking into the research, and he was also applying some of the research, the data they found from COBOL and some of their own like maps of the area, as well as applying it to the scroll of Pythia, which is the scroll that chronicled the original journey of the 13th tribe from Earth, or to Earth, I forget which. From. And one of the things that they said they noted on their way there was a lion, like a caravan of the heavens. Then they were watched over by a lion with a mighty blinking eye between red and blue. And they basically sort of realized that this was a metaphor. And Gata found a note from Baltar that said the blinking eye equals a pulsar, which are two rotating cores of dead stars, a binary star system.
Yep. And there's a specific set that they found in this nebula
that might be
that through a certain light spectrum read as red and blue.
Yes, and it's in a nebula that if you go to a certain location, it might look like a lion. They don't know for sure, but that might be what it looks like.
Yeah.
So also
that's
pointing
the
out
kind of thing you need to go and look.
Yes, and we've already pointed this out too, but again, it is weird that we have lions as an animal.
I've given up at this point.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Yeah. So they're going to go check that out. We cut over back to the base star, and Baltar has told Caprica 6 the same thing about the lion's head. So they're going after the same location. And he's basically talking to Caprica 6, like, I don't think you appreciate how difficult this is. You know, I have conflicted, ambiguous feelings about helping you find Earth. And Caprica 6, like, funny how all that ambivalence and conflict disappear when you thought your life was in the balance. And I'm like, yeah.
She's got his number. Fucking exactly.
I do appreciate this, like, fucking over Baltar Caprica 6. I appreciate this turn for her.
Yeah. No, like, I'd call him on as much bullshit as you can. Like, this is very difficult for me. Didn't seem that hard when you thought you were gonna die.
Yeah, right. There's a sexualizing moment where they walk in on a number, a boomer, I forget her model number. I don't know if it is
8.
Boomer, an 8, who is naked. And Baltar's like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to walk in on you.
Yeah,
and like,
it's like doing Tai Chi or something, because she's not doing anything. She's just like taking poses. Fuck.
If it had been a dude, I would have. I mean, it's just, again,
like, that's honestly what I found myself thinking too, is like, okay, if we want to make Baltar uncomfortable, have it be one of the guys. Have it be Doral. Have it be the Doctor. Have it be Leoben. Why is it her? I know why it's her.
Because it's sexy lady, yes.
I have exceeded my tolerance for this bullshit from Ronald D. Moore in specific. I'm like, fucking stop, dude.
He's better about it in For All Mankind, I will say, is his most recent show.
Interesting you mentioned that, because I don't remember what it said now, but somebody in the comments like specifically said, you know, this kind of makes clear this moment that happened in For All Mankind.
I mean, I have to go back. I don't remember there being anything like that.
I can find the comment if you want.
I mean, go for it. But yeah, my memory. So my criticism for All Mankind. Sorry, minor tangent while you look for that. I really like For All Mankind. I actually think it has a lot of very strong women, especially towards the start of the series. My big criticism of that show is once you hit season 3 and they start doing their Elon Musk storyline, it is a little bit like, yeah, Elon Musk type billionaire is a bit of an asshole, but you know, there is some use out of what he does. And like, they do a union busting storyline, and then a lot of the women kind of get sidelined, and it's kind of frustrating. It's like, again, I think that show is really great for the first 2 seasons. And then season 3, Elon Musk stuff onwards is a very much like, oh, you guys are all a little bit into we'll criticize Elon Musk types, but we're also in the cult of Silicon Valley a little bit, which is very frustrating.
All right. So it's at the tail end of the comment. Ellen and Starbucks storylines go right alongside the line in For All Mankind where the protag aligns with the torturer and slaver Columbus.
What? That I don't know what they're talking about, frankly.
Okay. I haven't seen the show, so I don't know.
I'm not saying that I want to be clear. I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't remember that specifically though.
Yeah. But I will tell you, like, regardless of how much better he got later, I'm fucking sick of it here. And like we talked about it, like I was on board when we started, when it was limited to, well, from the miniseries, just 6, but then it was limited to Head 6 specifically, which you could still call exploitative, but at least had narrative validity because it was how Baltar conceived of this person. So absolutely, he's a creep. Sure, fine, whatever. But like, there's just been this excessive sexualization of other versions of 6 and of 8, and it's like just fucking and this is so fucking gratuitous.
Mm-hmm.
This is, God, somebody just stop him.
Yeah, and
please, somebody stop him.
And I also want to say too, like I almost, this is not to excuse it. It's very fucking dude bro thinking of the time. So this is not excusing this by any means. But I also wonder if it was like part of their thinking on how they were selling the show, because I do remember a lot of the time with like Tricia Helfer and Grace Park, who plays Boomer, Toomer, all of them. They were very much like, I know Tricia Helfer was. I think Grace Park was as well. Were models, and so they appeared in Maxim and a bunch of these other things. I remember this specifically because I bought the Maxim magazine, not because I was sexy lady. Though
bought it for the articles. Yeah,
I literally did, because there was a Battlestar Galactica article and it had Grace Park and she was sexy on the front. So like, I'm not saying no to that, but I bought the magazine because it was nerdy, not because it was sexy. But those two things don't have to be exclusive, as I've learned.
No, they don't. They don't have to be. And like, yes, I was there. I remember that shit being standard at the time.
Again, that's not to excuse it. I'm just saying it's part of their weird calculus. I'm like, we'll sell the show with sex appeals. Bullshit.
Yeah, I know. I don't fucking care.
Again, not approving. I'm just more explaining of the mindset for listeners. But I did read the thing for the articles. But you know, she was pretty. I don't know what to tell you. But again, we should have equal opportunity. I think it would be less. I agree with all of your statements. The other thing I would say is like they could also do this if they were doing it to like, let's just see sexy Doral, sexy Yoben. Come on, I'm here for it. Yeah.
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 Because that then at the very least, like,
and it's just a Cylon thing that they're like cool with nudity and shit.
Yeah, and like that could be a thing. Hell, we like had that one scene with like 50 naked Sharons.
Yeah.
So apparently it's just a her thing to walk around fucking naked all the time. But like, yeah, it could have been a thing where like left to their own devices, they don't care about clothes. Like, why would we care? Why would we adopt this sense of shame that humans have? That could have been a thing. Like there's any number of ways to incorporate stuff like this that could actually contribute something other than just girl naked. But instead, that's all we get. So,
and also specifically, it's worth calling out the ageism of it too. It's like sexy young women, because like, well, we've had a bit of sexualization of Rosalind and also Lucy Lawless a couple times. They've never been naked either, which and noted like at the time of filming this, they were older women comparatively. So, yep. I'm just saying, Lucy Lawless is not at any fucking age. So,
and like it does not innately make it less exploitative, but for me at least, I am more willing to roll with it when it is equal opportunity. And you're like, yes, here's a sexy young woman. Here's a sexy guy. Here's an older woman. Here's an average looking dude. Like, and they're all naked. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like when you just try to have it be one for one. You know, there's the context of how our whole society, you know, sexualizes women. So like there's a context of our world. But at least I agree with you. Like if it is equal opportunity within the show, it's a little bit better. At least it's more arguable.
Yeah, again, doesn't make it necessarily okay, but at least for me as a viewer, it makes it stop feeling targeted.
Yes. Anyways, they walk by Boomer. Baltar's uncomfortable. And then we get into Head 6, Caprica 6, explaining what projection is, because it kind of comes up. And like, because Baltar's
it doesn't really. They just start.
Baltar kind of talks about like he seemed like, because the filmmaking is again very hallucinatory, so we're kind of getting Baltar's mindset, and it kind of goes into like he's like losing track of where the hell he is. So I would say it's not directly coming up, but it kind of relates to like how the filmmaking style has been having us in Baltar's head a little bit. So I will say it's a little more justified than I made it seem. But she talks about what projection means, which is they see the ship in whatever way they choose to. So for example, Caprica 6 chooses to see a forest filled with trees and all of that stuff. I choose a and Baltar tries to make it about him. He's like, oh, like the walks we used to take on Caprica. And she's like, oh, I like the aesthetics, give me the pleasure, not the specific memories. So she kind of rejects that interpretation. So yeah, the Cylons choose to see the ship whatever way they want to, not the cold metal that Baltar's seeing, which I found interesting. And then also,
Yeah.
but Head Six is talking to Baltar, and Baltar sort of is like, this is kind of very similar to my mind palace, essentially. He doesn't say it that way, but like it is very similar. And so this causes him to think and say out loud, am I a Cylon? Which Caprica 6 hears, but he sort of says, oh, I was just talking to myself. So,
yeah.
Yep.
He's not.
No, huh?
He's not.
Not
like, I'm telling you, he's not. Well, or let me be more specific. If he is, that will be one of the worst twists that I think this show could possibly try and pull off. Like, the longer that time goes on and we don't know who we now have a term for this, the final five.
Yeah,
sounds like a fucking fighting game. The longer time goes on and we don't know who the final five are, the worse the options become.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, again, maybe it works better if you actually understand what the hell the Cylons are trying to accomplish, because I still don't really. But, you know, it is at a point where what is possibly, like, if it is any of the established cast, like the long-running established cast, I don't know how they're going to cover for what was gained by not having them, you know, doing Cylon shit like for 2+ seasons prior to whenever the fuck the reveal is.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll be interesting.
I'll be
this
very
is so
curious
interesting to hear you say.
I will be very curious to see if they even bother trying to cover for that, and if they do, how. Because look, with 5 remaining, at least one like primary, not like necessarily like the main cast, but like recurrent, regular, maybe even name in the opening titles of every episode kind of character, at least one's going to turn out to be a Cylon. Like, that's not even a guess. That's like just, otherwise, what's the damn point? I just don't understand how the hell they're going to cover for just them having not done shit prior to this.
I suppose
they could try and give us like a full flashback of like, oh, all these other things that they did. Good luck selling it.
What I will tell you, just because it's something to know, the final movie that we will watch within this version of Galactica will be called The Plan. And it is,
yes, you've mentioned it.
It is the first 2 seasons of the show from the Cylons' point of view. So you will get answers to things what was happening. Whether or not you're satisfied with them will be a different question. But you will get specific answers of what was going on during at least the first 2 seasons of the show. So
we'll see.
Anyways, we then cut to Tumor. Basically we're in the pilot. I wrote Tumor first. We're in the pilot's like rec area that we've seen a bunch throughout the series. Tumor's there. And there's basically one of the pilots is asking Tumor to be her co-pilot. But she calls her Boomer. And she sort of says like, hey, no, I'm not Boomer. We need to come up with a better name. And Hilo sort of yells out like, hey, we need a call sign for her. We get a bunch of racist ones like Micro Chicks and Digital Dame, like a bunch of everyone just calling out weird racist things.
Lots of references to metal.
Yeah, exactly. But then someone says Athena. And I go, thank fucking God I can call her fucking Athena finally. Instead of fucking Tumor for a goddamn 2.5 seasons.
It is so bizarre to me that they were like in the captions they were labeling her as that when she was speaking from off screen or something for multiple episodes before this. Like, it's actually a big deal when this happens. You just drop it into the okay.
I think because I think that started happening because I only noticed it in the subtitles at the beginning of the season. So
I'm sure it just started this season, and I'm sure it's because
the DVD, whatever. Yeah,
I'm sure that possibly in the original script she was identified as that right from the get-go, or what have you, or like whatever was handed over to the people to set up the captions just called her the same thing throughout the entire thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not the captioner's job to go, actually, she's not called that yet.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
just their job to input whatever they were given.
Yes. Which I think is what happened. Because, yeah, it just started the season. I'm assuming just whoever was the captioner for the DVD box set just was like, all right, she's Athena. Here we go. So, yeah. Anyways, yes, she is now named Athena. They named her for the goddess of wisdom and war, often accompanied by the goddess of victory. So yay, thank God. But then Ty comes in, and Starbuck gives Ty some drinks, and Starbuck is playing cards, and like, basically Starbuck and Ty start like talking shit about everybody. Is like, you want to know what being alone is like, try spending some time in Cylon Holding, Ty says. And like,
I mean, like, let's back up slightly. It's not like he just starts saying that unprompted. Like there's general conversation around them, like, people just talk about, this is tough and that, and he jumps on the opportunity.
Yes.
To start pulling that.
Yes. And Kat also says, well, hey, it wasn't easy up here either. We were trying to save your butts. And Ty goes, oh yeah, very hard, having hot showers and 3 square meals a day. And
no, that's Starbucks line.
Oh, Starbucks says that, excuse me. Hilo says, well, hey, look, and Hilo's trying to like comment all that. It's like, hey, we all made sacrifices, sort of thing. But Ty's like, oh yeah, well, people were back on New Caprica were strapping homemade, while you were up here, people were strapping homemade bombs to their chest. So forgive me if I don't get all misty for your sacrifices. And Starbuck and Ty toast to that. So,
yep.
So bitterness from Starbuck and Ty. We then go to Caprica 6 and Baltar again, and she sort of says to him, like, hey, you seem distracted, guys, but you can rest easy now. Data on Earth's location, you've started impressing the others. And we see some crossfades of all the different Cylons. And Baltar says, hey, there are 12 Cylon models, but I only saw 7 the entire time that I was on New Caprica. And here again, there are the same 7. So who are the final 5? Capital F, capital F. Final 5.
I noted.
Yeah, that'll be a thing. But yes, Caprica 6 says we don't talk about them. And he's like, well, you would know one if they were to walk by you, wouldn't you? And she doesn't respond to that. So,
it's not just that she says we don't talk about them. We don't talk about them ever. It's like, what the fuck? The fuck is going on?
I mean, there is an answer for that. Yes, that one.
I'm sure there is. It's just, again, it's a line that I think under other circumstances I'd love, because like it's weird and it's what the hell are you doing? But again, they've made these people too comprehensible for 90% of the time. And so when they do their 10% weird shit, I'm just like, what now? What? Because like with a more genuinely alien feeling group, I'd hear something like that and go, ooh, intriguing. And I wouldn't even necessarily need to know answers. Like, you know me.
Yeah.
I don't need answers.
No, when I hear you, I'm like, you just need definitive answers to everything.
No,
yeah.
I super don't. But again, like it really just has to do with the way the Cylons have been presented. It has lost the appeal of the not knowing, which is normally strong with me. Like I've made extensive cases numerous times about how great it is to not know shit. But in this case, just because of the way it's presented, it's pissing me off.
It's just funny because I was really hoping this would be the episode, because this is where we start learning weird shit about the Cylons.
We'll see. We'll see if I start getting into it more. Right now, at least at time of this episode, it is a too little too late situation.
That's fair. I mean, but this when I said part of the reason, I mean, we'll learn more stuff, but like part of the reason when I was like, oh, season 3 is where we start to learn more. Like this is some of the weird shit that I was talking about that I've always appreciated. So we'll get more.
There is a weird shit aspect in this that I do really like. And yes. I think you probably already know what it is.
I'm well aware. It's one of my favorite things too. So,
but like, I think the thing is that we keep coming back to the human Cylons over and over again, and they are narratively still treated like the voice of the Cylons as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm dealing with a ship full of Mordens and there's no shadows.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. Um. Anyways,
Babylon 5 reference for folks if you didn't
yes,
listen to Jump
yes,
Game.
yes, yes. Well, we then learned that the Cylons lost contact with a base ship. That one that was sent to investigate where Baltar had told them to look for like information on Earth, the Lionhead Nebula, I should say. And they referenced that their hybrid, which we don't know what that is yet, has been sent confusing data, and it's being analyzed. So we
Yep.
then go into a new set, which again, and I know this I love this set because it's got like water dripping down in this Cylon base ship. They have a computer, like the computer consoles, but it's with water. I like this set a lot. I think it's very, very cool. Like
No, it's
sparse with
cool. It's
water stuff.
nifty.
Yeah. Um, and it kind of goes into what I do like about this too, and we'll get a little bit more aspect of this later on, the thing that you were referencing. But what I do like about this, and kind of tying into the whole thing of like we're part of an ecosystem, is it's very fascinating to me, this idea of they view their world as part of an ecosystem when it is very cold and like sleek and machine like. But then we get like the water elements and like talking about how they're part of an ecosystem. And then also there's even a little bit in the CGI later on when Baltar goes to the other base ship, like the fleshy bits that we see. So it's just this interesting like fusion of like flesh and machine. And I like that being referred to as an ecosystem. It like brings up, without being too pretentious and going down too much, it brings up like Donna J. Haraway Cyborg Manifesto of like we tend to view natural and machine things as opposing, whereas actually like these things are all sort of combined together rather than being seen as natural versus artificial. So, which I kind of like. It's just a concept. So again, this is the stuff that I end up really liking about the Cylons for these reasons of like this combination of like, let me just put like, this is the shit that I wrote a paper on in college about this show, specifically like relating to like how they view like machines as not an artificial thing necessarily, which I kind of really like. So as, or I guess artificial, maybe the wrong, not separate from nature, I guess is probably the best way to put it. So anyways, they're sort of, the Cylons are kind of all arguing with each other and saying like, hey, this may have been inevitable once we took human form, even, and some are arguing like, hey, this is impossible. And Leoben says stuff about like God has chosen this time to test us. And Baltar's like, what's going on? They basically tell him like the missing base star has been infected with a kind of disease and it's killing all of them. And if one of those infected Cylons die, they may bring it to a resurrection ship, which then could infect the entire rest of the race. They don't really know for sure.
Yep. And I forget the exact wording for it, but there is something brought up that like, which is an interesting thing to bring up. Like it's, again, slightly less interesting because it is less about them, being machines, and it, because this is strictly an organic problem. But if they're going to go there, this is interesting. It does get brought up that like, because they are exact copies, they know they will all be susceptible to this disease. Like if a disease can be caught by a Sharon, then that means that it can kill every Sharon pretty much immediately.
Yeah, so it's like less of like a genetic variation that makes it dangerous.
Yeah, which is an interesting thing to bring in for an artificially constructed species.
Yeah, that gets brought up. And then Head Six pops into Baltar and says, hey, you should say you'll go aboard the base star. You need to prove to them that you can be counted on in an emergency. And Baltar sort of is where he's like, what if I catch the disease because I'm a Cylon? And Head Six like, well, what are the chances that this is before Baltar says the Cylon part. He's like, what are the chances that a human could catch something that could infect a Centurion? And if you're a Cylon, then wouldn't you rather just get it over with and die? And so Baltar in real life says, I'll go. I'm a trained scientist. I'll go to the base star, make observation, and bring back information about the disease. And they sort of like come up with a plan of like, they don't want to infect a raider, so they'll use a captured colonial ship. So to send him there. Yep.
They'll pre-program a Raptor with a flight path.
Yep. Back on the Galactica, Ty and Starbuck are getting drunk playing cards in the pilot rec room. And like Hot Dog does a toast and he says like, here's to knowing someone will always have your back. And then Ty sort of responds to that as like, trust is an overrated commodity. And Starbucks like, I'll drink to that one. This starts to frustrate Kat, who's like, frack you guys. I'm tired of this us versus them crap. And she sort of like, Starbucks like, oh, well, the truth hurts, doesn't it? And she's sort of like, well, why don't you take out your anger on the Cylons? We busted our ass to sort of save you. And Ty's like, yeah, well, every colonist was loyal to New Caprica to a point, at least, and eventually like some people lost loyalty to the Cylons, and Starbucks like, at least in the end we knew how we stood. Yeah, and like Ty's like, yeah, well then how come you're on flight duty and some Cylon lovers holding down my post, referring to Hilo, who's not there at the moment.
Yep.
And Ty's like, we're alone in this life. And Kat sort of says, well, tell that to the pilots who died saving you. So there's some toxic discussions going on.
Somebody's spiraling.
Mm-hmm. We then cut to Hilo talking to Adama, and he's sort of talking about like, hey, Gata's giving a briefing to Racetrack and Athena, because Adama says Athena, and Hilo's like, oh, word travels fast, yeah.
Again, that very impressive rumor mill.
Yeah, it's working. It works really well.
Plot convenient rumor mill that for some reason the captain's plugged into. You think he'd have better things to do than listen to the rumor mill, but okay.
Yeah, but I feel like Athena getting a name isn't like whisper rumor mill. It's like, yeah,
I know around. It's just a recurrent thing on this fucking show, man.
Yeah. But also Adama sort of asked like, hey, I heard morale's taking a hit on the flight deck. And that Colonel Ty was spending some time in the pilot's rec room, including Starbucks. And Hilo sort of like opens up. It's like, yeah, they're holding court, bad mouthing the crew. It's kind of as if if you weren't in the ground war, you can't be trusted. And their word carries weight. And Dom says, well, they both know better. And Hilo says, I don't think they care. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Dom was kind of aware of the situation. But now we go into the scene that I was really looking forward to, which is Baltar finally meets the hybrid. So what we basically kind of learn is that the hybrid is another human kind of looking Cylon who is in the like resurrection pool that we get, but she is plugged into the base star. And as Caprica 6 explains, like, for all intents and purposes, she is the base star. She controls it and runs it. And the hybrid is basically talking in random sentences, like quotes from different things. And it all sort of seems like nonsense. And Caprica 6 says, most Cylons think that, the conscious mind of the hybrid has gone mad from having to deal with all this information from the base star. And the vocalizations are meaningless. And Balder's like, well, not everyone thinks that, do they? And she says, well, Leoben believes that every word out of her mouth means something, that God speaks to us through her. But basically, at the end of the day, she's like, she controls the base star and is the base star. So, and one of the ways that 6 says this, like, she experiences life very differently. She swims in the heavens, laughs at the stars, breathes in cosmic dust. Maybe she does see God. So,
see, this is good weird shit.
Yeah, no, I love this shit. This is some of my favorite stuff. The hybrids, we'll get more on the hybrids too as we go throughout the show, and I love the hybrids. They're fun because we'll meet more than one. So
now, I'll see if you answer me this. Mm-hmm. When we see another one, does it look the same as this one?
No. We will meet at least 2. I try and remember, we might get another one that looks like her, but another base star. So there might be another one that looks like her, but there are multiple different looking hybrids as well. There's at least one different one that I can think of.
I think that kind of answers my follow-up question, which is whether or not these count towards a Cylon model.
No, they do not count towards the final.
That's cheating! It is. This is clearly a new human-looking model. This is a template we have never seen before, but somehow doesn't fucking count towards your quote-unquote final 5. That's cheating.
Yeah, I will say none of the hybrids look like characters that way. We know they are different models. Yes. So now we've learned like a new type of Cylon. And I know they look very human-like, but yeah, there's Centurions, there's Raiders, there's hybrids, and there's like human form Cylons.
I get that they are functionally different, but like, and I can't, having not seen the whole show, I cannot say definitively if it is a plot hole that the hybrids don't look like the existing human models. But it feels like one.
I think it's just a
that,
course of like they just wanted an actor to play this thing.
Oh, I get the logistics. I don't care. I'm in universe now. I'm in universe at the moment. Because, like, how do you justify coming up with a whole new template and personality that you're not going to mass produce and you're just going to plug into a ship?
I need to remember. I think there is an explanation for this. And at very least, if there's not an explicit one, there is one that you could headcanon from information you learn later on, is what I will say. I think there might be an explicit explanation that I need to remember. But if it is, it's kind of an offhanded thing. So,
but no, I love shit like this. Like, yeah. I love Pilot from Farscape. I love the imagery than the execution, but I love stuff like the precogs in Minority Report. Like, I love shit like this. The empowerment of a machine, of the marriage of a machine and an organic mind to do something that neither could do on its own.
Mm-hmm. And we get a lot of really cool shots here. Again, going to the surreality of how this stuff on the base star is shot. We get shots that are like in the water of like the lines going into the hybrid's body and everything, which I really liked. It's cool imagery. And again, again, I wrote a paper on this, and maybe I'll end up doing a video on it, but it's like, it does. I would if anyone's interested in these themes, without me giving you a doctoral thesis on this here, I would highly recommend. There's a wonderful book called Cyborg Manifesto by Donna J. Haraway. It's a philosophy textbook that has influenced many different feminist texts. Like it's a sort of seminal feminist text of more modern feminism. Like Judith Butler uses that a lot too. But it does the basic overriding concept. It's a whole book, so it goes into more on this. But it's like, don't see our society tends to place things that it views as natural, quote unquote, and artificial at odds with each other. And what it views as natural and artificial, like men are natural, women are artificial, trans women, trans people are artificial, and creates a value judgment between those things. And also, like, technology versus naturalness. A lot of like fascism builds itself up on this, like what's natural and all of that jazz. And
the natural hierarchy, etc.
Yes. And how we need to, and the argument that Donna J. Haraway makes is like, we should see ourselves as cyborgs, in the sense that we should see ourselves as like not natural versus artificial, but a mixture of all of these things. And uses the word cyborg as like as a metaphor for that. And so all of this stuff with the Battlestar and the Cylons is a lot of that same sort of idea that I liked. And again, is probably in large part why I'm fixated. Like, rewatching this show is very fascinating to me because and especially knowing where the show goes, I understand that this show does not do these ideas best, and I have found things in my later life that I like much better. But rewatching shit like this, I'm like, this is why I find shit like this very fascinating.
You don't have to see the best execution of an idea for it to lodge itself in your brain and be really influential.
Yes. And that is definitely the case with this show. And then also stuff like, again, both this show and then Caprica. And when we get to Caprica as the show Caprica, you'll probably watch that and be like, I understand. I understand where this came from. But yes, this show is very influential. I'm having flashbacks watching the show, being like, oh yeah, this is where this shit came from in my brain. So, but yes, again, maybe not the show is the best execution of it, but definitely was influential. So, all righty. One other thing too that I do like too is that when the hybrid jumps, and we see this a couple times, she's like, jump. It's almost orgasmic for her. Like she has orgasm face whenever she jumps, which I kind of find fascinating.
She is definitely impacted by it. My brain didn't go to orgasm phase. It almost felt like, to me, it almost read like, bracing for a jolt, like she was about to, like, start feeling the needle of a tattoo or something.
Oh, it read to me like I don't know. It read to me as orgasmic in the sense of like a vaginal orgasm, which is distinct. having been someone who's experienced both kinds, read more like that. So
I do appreciate the difference, and like even someone who is not in possession of a different set of genitals than I've had my entire life. However, the experience of an orgasm has changed
Yes,
dramatically
yes,
just
of course,
from
of course. Yes.
hormone differences versus before. But I don't know. Just my brain didn't go there.
Fair enough. Um, in any case, she has a reaction to jumping that is unique, which I find kind of fascinating. We then see Baltar going over to the infected base ship. Just to note, in the CGI, I at least appreciated the recurrent detail of like when he lands, like the place where the raider lands, there's fleshy bits around in the CGI of it. We don't see it; they didn't build a set of it, but it's in the CGI. So at least appreciate that element coming back up. And then on the infected base ship, there's diseased models dying everywhere. Like some are vomiting. Baltar starts taking pictures and sort of like, yeah. But as he's going through, he finds what looks like a probe of some sort there. And he also finds A6 that is still alive. And he starts trying to save her. And she says, "Kill me." And he's like, "Hey, there's no resurrection ship nearby. You won't be downloaded. You'll just be gone." And this 6 says, "I see how they died. Please, I can't bear that." He's like, "Here, I'm here to help. Let me take some blood samples back to the base ship, and I'll make a treatment for the disease." And he's like, "Please, you take some water and everything." But then she starts explaining what kind of happens. Like, we found this probe floating at these coordinates. It was some kind of beacon, a marker. And Baltar notes like it's very old, likely left by the 13th tribe. And 6 sort of mentions like it's poisonous. It was left by humans to kill us. It's a human device filled with pestilence, so relating it to like religious imagery. And then she starts accusing Baltar, saying, "You sent us to this place. You knew we would find this. It's your fault. It's your fault." And Baltar's like, "Hey, no, stop. It gets more angrier and trying to get her to shut up at her accusations, and he chokes her to death.
Yep.
To get her to shut up.
So the instant he said it was old, I'm like, okay, so this is like an original Earth artifact kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Was immediately what I thought. I am at present disregarding the dying 6's notion that this was something designed to kill the Cylons, because I mean, depending on how much we're twisting this shit, but at least as I currently understand it, the Cylons wouldn't have been a thing yet at the time this thing should have been left. I don't know. I get, it gets weird for me when you start integrating like, oh, this thing is years old, specifically in a sci-fi setting. Mm-hmm. Like fantasy settings, whatever, dude. But like, my long-standing beef with the entire Star Wars universe is that the technology doesn't change for literally thousands of years.
Yes.
So if we hit a point where we find out that the Cylons, including human-looking Cylons, like have been around, or some version of them has been around since before the colonies even launched, like my head's liable to tilt to the side and go, fucking really? Because like, if for no other reason than it removes an entire element that is one of the things that I've liked about the Cylons, the idea of they are new, and that is why they don't feel bound to behave in the way that humans want them to behave, or at least some of them don't. And like the idea that they are new and trying to chart a new path is way more interesting than if we end up finding out that they are just a different ancient fucking thing.
Okay, interesting. Fascinating. I have so much to say. I might just
oh boy, I said something.
No, yeah, just to respond to this point, I may need to use one of my extra long things.
Fuck.
My spoiler minutes.
I said a thing.
Yeah, because it's like I see where you're coming from. But if I say anything in response to what you just said, it'll spoil too much. So I will save it for spoiler minutes. So listeners, for those of you who know, you probably already know. And I just know I have heard it, and I will address it in spoiler minute. And I will take the extra time in the spoiler minute for this one. So,
you know what part of it might be too is like at this point I might just kind of be over the allure of like ancient shit. Like I think as I've gotten older and I've watched enough sci-fi and fantasy media, like the exaltation of like this is old and powerful. Like, why is new shit never powerful? Why is new shit never better? It's always like, we must find the old, ancient, lost wisdom, or like,
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
powerful because they're old. I'm like, fucking since when?
I
Since
mean,
when has that ever been a thing?
I mean, it kind of depends on execution for me too, right? Like, I think
Like
Babylon 5 will
it.
go to it.
It does for me as well, but it's just overused.
Well, I think like where I end up having a problem with it is when it's like usually falling into that like arguably like racist shit of like, oh, the ancient like like ancient alien sort of bullshit of like, oh, the like,
Oh well, yeah,
yeah,
that specifically, that specific thing can fuck right off.
yes, which Stargate the movie, if we're going back to that shit, does a lot. I mean, the show is built off of it too, but it does somewhat better in some of that shit. But definitely the movie's playing off of it a lot. But oh God, how am I
Roland Emmerich has terrible ideas. Who fucking knew? Anyone paying attention, that's who.
Yeah. Still can't get over his fucking whatchamacallit, Stonewall fucking
I wasn't
movie.
even surprised because he'd already done his Shakespeare conspiracy fucking movie before that.
Yeah, I know, but Stonewall is just so like, go fuck yourself, bro. Anyways, yeah, I don't mind ancient stuff, especially when it's like, again, Babylon 5 is a good execution of this, where it's like, it's not better necessarily. I mean, their technology is stronger with the Vorlons and shadows and shit that we see, but it's like better in a different way. In like the technology is different. It's not like this is just a better version of what we have now, sort of thing.
Yeah, in Babylon 5, the ancientness is used as a way to make us feel more distanced from them.
Yes.
It's what contributes to that sense of alienness. Like, not only are they strange, they're also very old. So, like, there are things that they will have been around for that we just don't have a conception of, and it just adds to the overall alienness.
Yes.
Which is more the focus in Babylon 5, and like that works for me.
Yes, as opposed to like this ancient thing is just a very understandable thing that we already have, but somehow better despite it being older, sort of thing.
Yeah, but then there's shit like what season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds decided to have show up, and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Generic evil man? Oh,
yes. God. Oh, it is an ancient evil. Oh, piss off.
Yeah.
Man.
The most generic thing in misunderstanding how to do Eldritch horror. It is not Eldritch horror is evil. Eldritch horror is metaphors for things that we cannot comprehend. Like for Lovecraft, it was black people and others and racism. But Lovecraft Country made it about racism, and you could use it for like the Eldritch horror of systems like we don't understand, like the might makes right stuff of the shadows, like that sort of
Ultimately, thing. Eldritch horror is based on the idea of stuff that is powerful and doesn't give a shit about you.
Yes.
It's not scary because it's evil. It is scary because it is powerful and indifferent.
Yes, exactly. But no, we get a generic evil man played by a young black kid who that is defeated by a young white woman in a heteronormative marriage.
The power of heteronormativity. They put him in this fucking Chronicles of Riddick ass looking bone armor. What the fuck?
I just still can't get over, like, again, sorry, we're on a tangent, but it's that fucking season where I'm just like, I didn't talk about this in my review, and I should have, because other people put it out, and like I knew it when I was writing, but like this is just a lot of shit talking about. But it's like, we're gonna have all this ancient evil played by a young black boy defeated by the embodiment of good, which is this white woman who literally like creates the dream heteronormative marriage right before she dies, and then dies by sacrificing herself and making her literally put herself on a pedestal for all fucking time. Like, oh good, we're saving the universe for the young black kid by a white woman who puts herself on a fucking pedestal while her sad boyfriend looks on. Like, what the like, I know that wasn't, at least I hope to God that was not the like the symbolic intent that they were going with, but Jesus Christ, have someone do a sensitivity fucking read of your goddamn show. Like, at least I hope to Christ that was not what they intended.
God, that's even trying to go like even a slight deeper layer. I just lost my shit when they have him like, he has all these followers who gouge their eyes out
for no reason.
For no reason. And it never comes back. Like, the idea that these people worship him doesn't even come back. What the fuck was any of that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Understand, listeners. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 is phenomenally bad.
Yeah.
It's not just bad. It's not just bad for Star Trek. It is astoundingly terrible.
Yeah, it is trash.
And
so
not
like
fun trash.
Yeah, so like, you know, puts in perspective our criticism of Battlestar Galactica. I have problems with the show.
I will take this. I will take every single complaint I've got about this show over rewatching shit like Strange New Worlds Season 3. Fucking A. I will put up with Ronald D.
I will
bullshit.
gouge my eyes out. At least I'll have a reason for it.
Oh God, it was so fucking bad.
Oh God. Anyways, that season. Anyways, back with Baltar. He chokes out 6. I will, again, listeners, I will talk about some of the related stuff to this in spoiler minutes, so we'll get there. But he also, when the Cylons call him, it's like, hey, what do you see? He says, I see nothing of consequence. There's nothing left here. So he's clearly lying about the fact that they found this, that there's this probe that caused this. So,
well, I mean, what I'll note is I kind of, in the moment, I kind of took it more of a panic over what he just did, over the fact that he strangled one of them. Now, we'll get a scene later where he's going to very deliberately be hiding the fact that
yes, I think I agree with you. Like,
there was a thing.
This scene is a emotional reaction to what he just did, and then later on he chooses to double down on it consciously. So
yes,
is the way to
exactly.
Yes,
I just kind of wanted to clarify because this is not in this scene. This is not presented as a calculated choice.
No, it is later.
This is presented as a panicked move.
Yes, and speaking of which, this is the very next scene. We cut back to him on the Cylon base star, and the Cylons on the not infected ship are all arguing with each other. It's like, do we attempt to rescue? Do we risk ourselves? Do we leave them? I think Deanna makes the point, like, even the humans don't abandon their own, or maybe that was in 8. But anyways, I
can't remember who said
that. But basically all of their arguments kind of align with like how we track their ideology. So Leoben is sort of like arguing like perhaps God will smile on us for our mercy. That one I caught. The scientist one is like, even there's no cure in science here. We can abandon for the greater good, sort of things. So like all of these different arguments are sort of coming from the perspectives on what to do. The Deanna basically makes this like final orders, like, we have to leave, we have to jump and leave them to their fate. There's no other way. It is noted that the hybrid kind of objects to this. It's not overt, but the hybrid sort of like screams and like says some weird shit, and like the base star sort of rumbles. So it's clear like the hybrid objects, but Deanna says she doesn't get a vote, which is interesting. It is worth noting that.
I absolutely wrote that down, that the hybrid does not get a vote. It feels like another, because we kind of had this little hint of the human Cylons kind of looking down on the Centurions. And if the hybrid is seen as a halfway step between the fully human Cylons and the fully mechanical ones, then yeah, this would make sense. You are too much of the machine to get a vote. You failed the one drop rule.
Interesting that there seems to be a hierarchy within the Cylons.
Interesting, disappointing, but interesting.
I'll save it. Look, again, I will save it later.
It is completely dependent on the story threads that result from it.
Yes.
However, my initial instinct is still disappointing. Like, oh, so we're just going to do classism. That's just one more people problem that they have. Okay, fine.
Yeah. God. Yeah. I'm not going to be able. There's so much I need to say in the spoiler minute. It's not going to even be funny. Anyways, then they jump away. So there's another jump that we get the hybrid jumping as well. But then as they're leaving, Deanna points out, like, the disease must have come from someplace. What did you notice on the infected ship? And she asked that to Baltar, and Baltar says, I saw nothing. Again, he makes the choice to, but Caprica 6 sees in his picture, she notices the probe. So she knows that he's not telling the truth. So, but Caprica 6 doesn't say anything at that point, but she does know that Baltar is lying.
No, but she's like shooting lasers at him with her eyes, like,
So So, yep.
But I'm expecting her to call him on that privately in a later episode.
Yes. Well, this episode ends on a to be continued, so we'll.
Well, yes.
Yes. Anyways, we then have Adama going down to the Viper pilot rooms, and he says, "Give me the room," and basically asks Starbuck. Like Starbuck gets up to leave, but he's like, "No, you stay here." So Starbuck and Ty are the only ones left. And he basically says, "Give me your sidearm," to Starbuck. She does. They seem a little confused by it, but he cocks the gun and puts in a live round and tosses it on the table. And he says, "Now, one of you, I don't care who, pick up that weapon and shoot me." Starbuck tries to save somebody. He's like, "I didn't say talk. You've done enough of that already. I said pick it up and shoot me. What's the matter? No guts? Because no one does anything. You don't got a pair? You're both fracking cowards." And Ty sort of objects to that. So you watch your fracking mouth. And he's like, "No, you're gonna turn my pilots against each other. You're poisoning my crew. What are you gonna do to that? Is he gonna turn my pilots against each other, poison my crew? We've already done enough of that." And Starbuck says, "If you're looking for apology, that's not going to happen." And Adama like takes her chair. She's leaning back and just drops her on the floor. And he's like, "You were like a daughter to me once, no more. You're a malcontent and a cancer, and I won't have you on my tip. So you have a choice to make: become a human being again and an officer, or find another place to live. You're dismissed." And she leaves. Which I like it's a fine and like common phrase, but in this show, I think it has interesting weight of like find a way to be a human being again is an interesting turn of phrase in a show that it's about dehumanization and what it means to like be human versus a Cylon, which is kind of interesting. As a way for him to phrase that.
And I like this moment for Adama in terms of his way of dealing with this. Like, okay, fine. If you two are going to start being dickheads, I'm basically going to confront you with the extreme conclusion of your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are planting and sowing and seeding this much discontent, you are going to get everybody, including me, killed. Fine, just fucking shoot me now. And if you're not going to, then maybe stop what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's like, he says, "I have a ship to run." At one point, it's like, yeah, it's like I can't have this on my ship. So yeah.
Either own up to what the final end result's going to be right now, or stop it.
Yeah, which I really like. He's confronting with it. So yeah.
No, it's good.
With Starbuck, he dismisses her. With Ty, he gives a little bit more. Grace is the wrong word. Empathy is probably the right word. Though still is very stern. He starts by saying, "I know what you've been through." And he's like, "Don't patronize me. Say what you came to say." Ty says. He's like, "You're full of bile," and Adama says to Ty, "You're full of bile and hatred, and I know it has to do with Ellen, and I'm sorry for that. Take all the time you need, but I've got a ship to run. The last thing I need is a one-eyed drunk sowing discontent and disobedience. So you either pick up that weapon and kill me, or get your ass in your quarters, take all the time you need, and come back and act like the man I've known for 30 years. To which Ty then picks up the gun, unloads it, gives it back, but says, "That man doesn't exist anymore, Bill, and you won't be seeing me again." So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So Starbuck and Ty are on the shit list. We see Starbuck then in kind of like a final montage going on here. Starbuck goes into the shower area, cuts her hair with a knife because she had long hair. Now she's back to her like normal short hair that she had in previous seasons. And Ty goes back to his quarters with a drink and starts crying over the picture of Ellen. It's like, "Oh, my sad wife that I fridged. Look at my man pain." And then Starbuck.
"This is why this happened, so that I could have my man pain.
I need my man pain." But then Starbuck goes down to the civilian sort of refugee area that's on the Galactica, and she goes and finds Casey.
Well, but it's worth noting, like, in proper uniform.
Yes, so like she has chosen to be an officer. Yes.
Yeah, like that's important because like when we've seen her in the recreation room, and she's just been in casuals.
Yes.
Like she since she was grounded, she hasn't been repping her uniform.
Yes.
So she has cut her hair and is put on the formals again.
Yes. So it seems like she has made at least a choice to try to pursue.
Yes. Which I like. I think either one of these paths in isolation could have felt kind of trite.
Mm-hmm.
Either, Ty just becoming his worst self, or, Starbuck getting her shit together because her boss told her to. But somehow it works so much better to have them both happen simultaneously and in parallel, and just go like, and here's the divergent point where they sync, the two of them synced up for a hot minute. Like, it's worth noting how much trouble these two have been for each other, and it's not like they were actively bonding on New Caprica. Starbuck was in a cell, but like they were very much linked up on this path towards just bad shit, and when forced to diverge from it, went completely different directions. And I think that just sells the entire package so much better than an individual storyline for either of them would have.
Yep. I really like that for exactly that reason. So, yep. But yeah, she goes down and sees Casey and hugs her, and then we will never see Casey again.
Of course.
But then we have the final scene of the episode, which is the setup for the to be continued, in that Kat and Athena, I think it's Kat, well, whoever, Athena and her co-pilot, they jump to find the Lion's Head Nebula. But they also, at the same time, find the infected base star. And so they're about to jump away, and Athena sort of says, when gods awaken, anger awakens, even the mighty shall fall. So,
yep,
to be continued. So we'll be dealing more with that infected base star next episode. Huzzah! All righty. I have got to do a spoiler minute. So, listeners, for the next, what do you give me? A minute and a half?
I give you an extra 30 seconds. If you want to cash in 2 of those, that'll either wipe you out or leave you with 1 additional 30.
Oh no, give me the just the 30. I'll keep the 1 additional 1 for later, because I'm sure I'll need it.
All right.
I am sure I will need it. But yes, I'll take the extra. No, I use it or lose it. I'll use the 30 seconds. So give me 90 seconds on the clock. So listeners, I'm going to talk spoilers for 90 seconds. If you do not want to spoil this, skip ahead 90 seconds, just as Bear's going to do in real time.
And go.
So the big thing, obviously, here is the final 5. They are different sets of Cylons. And Vera was talking earlier about, like, she hates ancient shit that looks human that also is made to infect the Cylons. I am going to be curious, though, if this is actually going to bother her, because her whole thing was like, oh, the Cylons existed earlier, that like the whole thing is they're new and they're trying to do something new, which I agree with her to a point. But I like that this show is talking about, like, symbolically, it's using the Cylon versus human conflict to talk about, like, the idea of the cycle of violence and oppressors becoming oppressed, and how, like, when, like, the people who cause harm to those that are oppressed can start creating those same hierarchies within those same people. So you even see, as we see here, with, like, the hierarchy of, like, centurions, the hybrids that the Cylons have, of, like, oh, they're still less human, less Cylon than we are, quote unquote, and don't get a vote. So it's like how these hierarchies of power still get recreated, even in sometimes people pushing against their oppressors, and that creation of the cycle of violence sort of idea, and how we try to rupture that story. And this whole show kind of ends on this larger point that I do really like. Now, whether you like the Judeo-Christian aspect of it is this whole other thing, but it kind of does end on the point of, like, we are trying to create something different instead of these constant cycles of, like, oppressor oppressed that, like, recreate themselves, and that, like, our society tells. Like, I want to be clear too, like, when often our society tells a story of, like, oh, the cycle of violence exists because, and it'll, like, create, the oppressors will become the oppressed will become the oppressors as a way to justify continuing oppression. But I do, so, like, that's a bullshit narrative, but I do like how the show handles addressing.
You got some extra time because I was muted, so you didn't hear me the first time I said
I had so much to say, Vera. It's fine. Oh yeah, there's a lot there, and it's let me just put it this way. I'll say this, listeners, like, obviously the thing that I was talking about, there's a lot more complexity to it, both in narrative of the show and the themes that the show is dealing with. But we'll get there when we get there. I just want to make sure, because there's where I left off, I want to make sure that I give the right impression that it's not going to be problematic.
Okay.
Anyways, what do you think of the episode?
It's pretty good, which I know is weird for how much I bitch, but, like, also, like, keep in mind, I'm just kind of at a point where with this show, I don't have the expectations of the show that I had when we started. Like, they just will not get that high again. But that doesn't mean that there isn't good stuff here. There is as you've noted, a very distinctly different feel on board the Cylon ship. From the visual presentation, the idea of the hybrid is really interesting. And I think while it was not a plotline I super enjoyed, I think it was a very good handling of the let's get Starbuck and Ty to where they're gonna be for the next stretch of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you couldn't just have Starbuck immediately cycling right back into being hotshot pilot again. And while you could just have Ty crash out immediately, that probably would have felt a little like, really, is nobody gonna try and stop him? Like, nope, somebody did.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody did, and it didn't work. So I think this, in terms of efficiency, and I mentioned like doing it simultaneously makes each storyline of that work better. So I think that was pretty well handled. It's just the usual bullshit that Ronald D. Moore pisses me off with that just keeps popping up.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say here is like this is some of the shit that I started to get into that I like. I've already noted this, but like this is the elements of the show that has clearly stuck with me the most and that I find the most fascinating, which is what it just excited me to finally get to. And again, there's stuff that this show does that like I've seen other shows or TV things or books that I've read have done better. But this is, I think of it kind of like Star Trek to a degree of like a lot of what Star Trek does for the like so there's some stuff Star Trek does on its own terms that is the best of the genre. But I think a lot of Star Trek is like a good beginner sci-fi in that it is like, here's your first encounter with this idea. Now go read this book by this author who delves into it way more interestingly than Star Trek does.
Yeah.
But in this show is kind of that same thing for some ideas that I particularly am very fascinated with, to the point where like part of the spoiler minute, without saying anything too much to you, like it is me talking about themes that I still to this day talk about in my work, like in my videos, that this show will start getting more and more into with the stuff that we're touching upon here, that I am very excited to get more into. Whether or not the show will end up exploring them really well or like in a way that I like will be sort of, we'll see how it comes. But this is finally the show getting into the shit that I wanted to get into. And so what I'm hoping, and I think like I understand your frustration in the sense that like it has set you up to be a little bit more not hostile, but I guess like all right, I've come to set a certain expectations of the Cylons that I'm like, yeah. I wish this shit that we're starting to get now with the Cylons had been like in season 2.
Honestly, I think that would have made a huge difference.
Yeah,
for like where my headspace is at, because it's happening now in season 3. It has the burden of trying to win me back.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it had started doing this shit sooner, it might not have lost me in the first place.
Yeah,
it is always harder to reclaim an audience member that you've lost than it is to do an interesting thing earlier and just not lose them.
Yeah. I think that is exactly the problem here, where it's like I feel like a lot of this shit, if they had done this in season 2 and then humanized them more in season 3, would have been a better way, as opposed to like we're gonna make them seem more human and then make them weird. Yeah.
I think doing it the other way, well, like philosophically, I question like, do we need to make them seem more human? But again,
no, but I mean like as an arc that would have worked better.
Yeah, but like if we're going to do that, yeah, I would have preferred that a lot more, because I would have taken the human aspects as being, I wouldn't have taken them at face value if I'd been presented with more weirdness in the first place, because it would have been filtered through like, okay, yeah, they're acting more human, but I know all these weird things about them,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to basically as soon as we started getting any concrete information about them at all, the more and more human they became, and I just kind of detached from being interested in them.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's trying to claw me back.
Yeah, and all I will say without getting too into spoilers is like some of the stuff that you rub up against to them being more human, I think will thematically works for me a lot. But that's I know where this goes. I know what the show is ultimately going to be trying to say. And I think it works from like, oh, this is what you were trying to get at. I think that works. But as a narrative, watching it first time through, I think it makes it a lot more difficult in a weird way. And I think my big criticism at the end of the show will be, all I will say is that like, I like a lot of what they're doing. They probably could have not even like the nitty gritty of like, did they explore these ideas well? They could have structured this better to get at the themes that they wanted to get at better. I think is probably what my ultimate thing will be. And that is a big part of it that I think you're bumping up upon that I am seeing. So, yeah.
And this is why, if you plan to make grand points, maybe have more of a plan.
Yeah. Like the Cylons, have a plan. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, we mean pretend like you had a plan when you didn't. Oh, shit. Wait, no.
Yep. Well, keep in mind, this is in the era of Lost. So this is the Lost model of we'll just make it up and hope people think we had it the whole time.
Which, like, the thing is, I don't even have a problem with making it up as you go. Just be honest that that's what you're doing.
And also,
where you pissed me off as a viewer is when you act like everything has meaning, but it doesn't.
I think
you're just bullshitting.
I think it gets to be a problem when you are so reliant on it in a way that like Lost and Battlestar Galactica to a lesser degree than Lost, but Battlestar Galactica kind of did as well. Of like, ooh, like look, there's 12 Cylon models, but they don't know who the 12 Cylon models. I don't think they knew who the 12 Cylon models were at the start of the show. Like even knowing where this ultimately goes, I don't think they did. And so like there's some bullshitting. Whereas like you look at Deep Space Nine, which I think is my example of this, like they had some mystery with Deep Space Nine of like, where did Odo come from? The changeling character. And there is an answer for that works really well, but the show wasn't reliant on like the answer, like the whole plot of the show wasn't relying on like, where did Odo come from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the Game of Thrones problem where it's like, all right, now that I know, like I thought Game of Thrones is a great show and some of her early seasons are great, but now that like I know where it kind of goes, I watch the earlier seasons and I'm kind of like, oh, I'm less invested now because I know this ends stupidly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. Whereas Deep Space Nine, where it's like, oh yeah, even if Odo, I like where Odo's mystery goes, but even if Odo's mystery ended up really stupidly, I could be like, oh yeah, that's one element, but like there's other things about the show's plot. And I don't think Battlestar Galactica gets to that level of like bad with its ending like Game of Thrones does, but I certainly see why you would have more struggles with it based on that structure. I think it's probably the better way to go. So
we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how angry you get at the ending. And we'll see if it still stands up in my memory, but we'll get there when we get there.
How funny would it be if you get pissed off by it and I defend it?
That would be very, very funny. I'm going to put in like a guess right now. I'm going to feel like there's one particular element of the ending that I feel like I will not like one big swing that the ending takes that I defended when I was younger, but now looking back, I'm like, I think that'll be bad. But I think thematically, I will like a lot of what it does. So we'll see how it goes. So, yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Anything else, Avira?
Nah.
Alrighty then. Stuff time.
Stuff. You can find my stuff by looking for Council of Geeks. Patreon pays the bills. The main thing that supports is the YouTube channel. I don't know what's going up. Time is meaningless. I don't understand the flow of it at all anymore.
This has happened before. All of this will happen again.
It feels like it should be July at the latest. By the time you folks are hearing this, it is December. What the hell? I don't know. But check it out. New videos every Saturday. Council of Geeks is also on Blue Sky. There is my secondary channel, The Break Room of Geeks, where I talk about whatever I have watched, listened to, played, or read lately. And that is the geeky stuff. There's, of course, also the spicy stuff. And for that, you can look for Vera Wild. And you will find increasingly spicy content on YouTube, TikTok.
You can find me at Jesse Gender on YouTube, where I do video essay style of stuff. By the time you're listening to this, almost certainly my video on why tech oligarchs love Star Trek and how they misunderstand it is out. Please go watch that. I am very proud of that one. I also have a Patreon that helps me pay my bills, where you can get videos early. I'm doing this in a weird order now, but you can get that video early as well as other videos early that I have out. I also have a secondary channel called Jesse Gender After Dark. Jesus, I cannot speak. Where I do news, reviews, reactions. I'm reviewing It Welcome to Derry. I'm reviewing Pluribus, and I probably will be reviewing whatever the fuck that Doctor Who spinoff is called, The War Between the Land and the Sea. That show that's coming out.
Oh fuck yeah,
that's coming out in December.
Next month,
yeah,
doesn't it?
Comes out in December. You gotta cover it. I probably will.
Yeah, I have obligations.
yes, you do. Watch. What if it's wildly turns out to be the best thing Doctor Who has made? It won't. But what if it does?
That might actually make me angry.
I mean, it really would make the whole like it turns out to be so fucking good. Like the best thing that came out of the Disney Plus time of Doctor Who. It would be so funny if that ended up being the case. Um
What a sick joke that would be.
it really would be. I kind of want that to happen now. Anyways, I'll be reviewing that, so check that out next month in December. I also have Patreon. Like I said, I'm on Nebula. That also helps me pay my bills. You also get stuff extra on Nebula, as well as my movie identities, as well as the show Subliminal that I directed an episode of that'll be coming out next year. I am on Blue Sky and Instagram. That is all my stuff. Anything else, Avira?
Nah.
Alrighty. With all that said, I hope y'all live long and prosper.
Be seeing.